You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Excited to have you here with me today on the Cabral HouseCalls. Of course, this is where we answer all of our community's questions. Every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, we answer somewhere around 6 to 8 questions per house call. I do try to keep them right around the 20-minute, 25-minute or so period so that everybody gets the due that they deserve. And the other big thing is that we're going to try to start answering more questions each and every house call. But what I'm going to do is try to, again, link back to previous podcasts where you might find more helpful information and just be a little bit more maybe succinct with my answers. Because as we get more and more questions in, I want everybody to know that I'm going to get to your questions. Of course, it does take about 2 or 3 weeks to get to them. It doesn't mean that they've gotten lost. It just means that, you're in the queue and your question will absolutely be answered. It's my pleasure to be able to do this, answering all things wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging. And as much as possible, please always just refer to that show note page for everything that I may have mentioned, because I know there's a lot that I'll be talking about. So the things on today's podcast, simply go to stephencabral.com/589. And when you go to page 589, what you're going to find is all of the links to maybe research, maybe supplements, maybe lab tests, maybe whatever, right? Anything that we talk about, I just jot down a little note, and then my team is able to link up all of the different things that help you to better take control of your life. And that's really what it's all about. It's getting the education. It's stopping to guess and starting to test, to learning what exactly is wrong with you specifically. Or we go right to the foods and the recommendations, the previous podcast where I went in depth. All of those things. So excited to get started. And the first question today is coming in from Jen. She writes in and says this. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm experiencing brain fog, joint pain in my knees, some numbness in the arms when I'm sleeping, lower back pain, bloating, fatigue to some point, unmotivated to do anything, especially after eating, and some constipation. I do sit at work a lot, but I walk on my lunch hour and I try to do workout videos with weights during the week as well. What could all this be a sign of, and what can I do to go about it? Thank you, Jen. Okay, so hopefully you tuned in to last week's show. Okay, the shows were 586 on the 2 causes for inflammation, and then yesterday's 588 on the anti-stress, energy, and mood-based or boosting vitamin. Please, if you can, do tune in each and every day. I try to keep them under the 20-minute mark or at least right around there. It's enough time to listen during your commute, during your walk at lunch, which you're doing, Jen, which is fantastic. But you're going to get these answers. You really are. Try to go back to previous shows as well. It's just going to be part of your overall healing journey. That's really what this is about. Now, you've mentioned brain fog. You mentioned some numbness in your arms. You mentioned some bloating, some lower back pain, and some fatigue. All of those are linked to low B vitamins. I'm thinking that you are low B vitamin, maybe because of poor digestion, because of other reasons. And of course, you could run the organic acids test to actually test your B vitamins levels. You could also test your mineral levels, your electrolytes, by doing a hair tissue mineral analysis. I'd recommend those over the adrenal-based test for you. So I'm recommending the organic acids test, the hair tissue mineral analysis. Please do keep in mind, I'm going to try to put those two together even in the future on the website. And the reason is that those are my go-to. If someone ever has a question, organic acid test for digestive function and vitamins, hair tissue mineral analysis for stress and minerals. It's a powerhouse when you combine those two. Amazing data from that. Okay, so we always want to ask why the inflammation. Again, I talked about that, so I'm not going to go through all of those things. Simply go back to episode 586 for that, and you'll find out as you peel back the onion why the fatigue, why the inflammation. Is it gut-based? Is it stress-based? Is it nervous system-based? Is it viral-based? Is it bacterial-based? And I'll give you all the different tips there. And then, it can look at food sensitivity. So that's a big thing as well. Why the brain fog? Could you have a food sensitivity? That would also be a great lab to run. And that's the thing is that, Jen, you want to really start to peel back the onion and to figure out why are you getting all of these specific things. For you, again, my number 1 test, the organic acid test for you. Number 2, hair tissue mill analysis. Number 3 is food sensitivity test. And that's absolutely where I would go with for you. So hopefully that helps get you started. Okay. Elizabeth is up next. She's writing, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Around March, I gained about 12 pounds out of nowhere. I went from 120 to 132, and it literally happened overnight. I'm only 5'2", so it's a big change in my body. I'm extremely active. I work out 5 to 6 days a week, so I sensed something went wrong. I thought I was bloated as usual. I have been sort of constipated. When I was 16, I was overmedicated and it wiped out my intestinal flora. Still have some discomfort." I'm ad-libbing this question, by the way. You can always read the full question by going to today's show notes, which again is stephencabral.com/589. Even as you're listening to this podcast, you can actually look over the questions as well. I think that's kind of helpful. So what else went on? She just got married. Then husband got deployed a few weeks after the wedding. However, my stomach was killing me. The time was about 10 times as much as usual. I figured it was stress with the toxins, and the detox would be extremely helpful. I lost 4 pounds, but notice I got extremely gassy afterwards in the mornings. In your FAQ, explain that your digestive system may be very weak and an enzyme may help. I heard your podcast on IH pylori and I had all those symptoms. Also listened about sealing up leaky gut. Was wondering what could all of this be and what steps should I follow? Okay, here's the deal. Here's what we want to look at. My new book explains all of this, and I know it's not very helpful because it's not out, right? But here's the crux of it. None of this happens overnight. So it sounds like you had some issues when you're in your teenage years, wiped out your gut flora, just like I did between the ages of 14 and 17. I was on an antibiotic. Over 3,000 capsules of amoxicillin I swallowed, destroying my gut balance, and I had to rebalance that. So what I'm recommending for you is that you run the organic acids test, and if you don't choose the best option for you, simply run the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. Why do I say run that? Because not only will you help to rebalance your gut flora, and then after that, you'll be using the healing gut protocol. We'll walk you through that. But you're also going to get our nutritional eating list. You're going to get our shopping list. You're going to get our elimination diet, all of those great things. So that's your best place to start. Now, organic acids test first. And then my second lab for you would be probably the weight loss test. If you can afford that, I can't recommend it enough. It's going to give you your thyroid levels, your adrenal levels, your estrogen to progesterone, your vitamin D, your insulin, your hemoglobin A1C. I would actually maybe put that number 1 for you. Like run that lab test, and then you might want to just do the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol because they're about the same price, and you can just run the protocol and then run your hormone-based testing separately. That's what I would do. Comprehensive weight loss test, just called the weight loss test. We might rename that in the future. But then I would run that lab, and then I would run the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, meaning just go through that protocol. So hopefully that helps. That will allow you to know what went wrong. Most likely you just all of a sudden hit your body's threshold. And you most likely met that through either food sensitivity, you got food poisoning, you ate something that you shouldn't have, or you hit a high stress event. And that high stress event might just been of that one thing that, as they say, the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. So let's get you back to healing. All right, let's get you back to healing. Let's do that weight loss test. You'll know your results. You'll know your hormone levels. And then let's do the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol for you. Okay. And then, of course, you're doing your daily nutritional support shake every morning so that you decrease in the bloating right away with that. All right. Leah is up next, or Leah, Leah. On these podcasts, on these house calls, you're challenging my ability to actually speak, I think. All right. Hello, I believe I am in moderate adrenal fatigue and possibly low thyroid as well. I was about to get all of my blood work tests done when I found out I'm pregnant. The ND I was working with said, come back after the baby is born. Is there really no way to get answers before then? Should I just eat and act as if these things to be safe? I've read about links between low thyroid and issues with babies like Down syndrome, and I'm worried about crashing really bad after the baby is born. I really don't want postpartum depression or even lower thyroid from all the stress. How do I go about this? Okay, great question. And Leah, we did get your follow-up question. I think you sent it in about maybe like last week. So that's like 2 or 3 weeks later. We're just a little bit behind on the questions, and you're in the right place. Anybody who has a question, go to StephenCabral.com/ask Cabral to get their question asked. That's the only place where I answer these Cabral house calls. If you ask them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere else in the world, I can't get to them. I just can't. I'm only one person and I can't find them all. But if you submit them there, I get those questions and I'm able to answer them each and every weekend. Okay, so Leah, your naturopathic doctor is right. Your hormones and everything do change when you are pregnant, and it's not going to give you a good snapshot of where you're at previous to getting pregnant. However, there's a lot that you can do, meaning that you can still have your lab tests done. Just know that they're going to be different before you were pregnant and, of course, after you're pregnant. So that's your choice of whether you should get them done or not. My big thing is you shouldn't get blood work done. You should have saliva testing done. You don't want the blood work done. You know your blood work is going to probably be pretty good. So what you want to do is you want to run your thyroid, adrenal, and estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA test. That's called the weight loss test. Again, unfortunate that it's called that because we're, of course, not trying to have you lose weight. So I'm going to come up with a different name for that. I've been saying that, I know, for weeks. I'm going to come up with a different name for that lab. And what we'll do is we'll categorize it just a little differently going forward. I'll probably just call it thyroid, adrenal, and hormone testing. That sounds pretty appropriate, right? And I'll put it under the wellness category. But for now, it's under the weight loss category called the weight loss test. It'll be the same one. I would run that if you really want to know your levels. Now, preemptively, you could just do this. You could do the daily nutritional support shake with the extra folate that I talked about 2 weeks ago on episode, what was it? It was on episode 581. Okay. So that tells you do the daily nutritional support shake with the extra methylfolate. That's what I would do. That way, you make sure you're getting your B vitamins, you're getting your selenium, you're getting your vitamin C, you're getting your zinc, you're getting everything that you need. Now, you could do a prenatal vitamin. That's okay. And if you do a prenatal, do the orthomolecular or do the Thorne, do a really good functional medicine-based brand one. If you're worried about your thyroid, well, you could simply get in a little bit extra iodine, a little bit extra selenium, a little bit extra vitamin C. That will allow your thyroid to function at its best. Same with vitamin B6. But again, simplest way to do it, daily nutritional support shake with your extra methylated folate. Really simple. And then during your third trimester, you'll want to, and postpartum, you'll want to take extra iron. I simply recommend 2 tablets of the iron response on a daily basis. Really simple, really straightforward to do. And then I do typically recommend as well 2 capsules of the omega-3 support during at least your last trimester when neurological function is developing in your child and while you're breastfeeding as well. That's what we do. That's what we recommend. Again, like really straightforward. I don't think that you need to be worried. You sound like you're a health conscious individual. Okay, so what I want to do is just kind of recap. So your ND is right. Your blood work will look drastically different. I'm recommending that weight loss test if you really want to know what your labs look like. You also get, again, any lab that's ever run through my website, StephenCabral.com/store. I review it. I personally review it. Then you get a 30-minute health coaching call with one of my amazing health coaches that I personally work with and, of course, give those recommendations. So you get a full plan. You get all of those things. But you can also, again, you can just do the daily nutritional support, extra folate, 2 capsules of omega-3 support on a daily basis, and your iron response. You have everything you need. I really think you don't even need more than that. Like you could do a lot more, but I think you'll be good there. All right, Gina is up next. Gina writes, "Hi, thank you for the informative, refreshing podcast. Took me a while to find podcasts actually worth listening to, so I quit smoking about a month ago, and I'm finding so little information about the withdrawal period. It's really frustrating understanding what's going on with my body. For the most part, I feel good, but I'm very lethargic, have a sore throat, chronic headaches. Is there any way to speed up the recovery? I refuse to relapse and go back to the awful habit. So anything helps. Thank you so much." So Gina, that is absolutely amazing. I know how hard it is for a lot of people to break these addictions, no matter what. Like people have addictions to sugar, to alcohol, to smoking, to drugs, to marijuana, to whatever it might be. And for you to break that, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I really do. So congratulations on that. Recommend you and anyone else to join CabralSupportGroup.com. Free support group, absolutely free, nothing to buy, only here to support you. Really, that's our mission in life. It really is. Like people say, like, well, why do you do all these things for free? It's honestly, Yeah, it's for free. It costs my time, all of these things. But honestly, this is what life's about. If you find something that you're decent at and that you can at least be of service to others in some way, it makes you feel good too. So yes, I'm reaching out. Yes, I'm trying to help as many people as possible, but I feel great doing it too. So I just want you to know, like this is a two-way street. I enjoy it and I enjoy being able to help others. The CabralSupportGroup.com, it's a free Facebook group, private group. We allow positive people in, no negative people, positive people only. Of course, you can be struggling with anything you're struggling with. We'll help you through it. We just want you to have the positive mindset that you're going to achieve it. You really will. So feel free to join that. We're happy to help you along your path. Yeah, there's absolutely a bunch of things you can do. First, foremost, do the 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox. I can't recommend it enough. It's going to help detoxify all of the carbon and all those extra carcinogens that actually come from cigarettes as well. 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox. Continue on with the daily nutritional support shake, but after you're done with the 21 days, put in all of those powerful berries in that smoothie, blend it up, use the greens powder, do something like the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol. Highly recommend it. And then exercise. Any exercise you want. You could do anything in the world you want. Get yourself exercising. Clean out your lungs. Go for a jog. Go for a walk in the park. Do some stadium stair sprints. Jump on a rebounder. Do jump rope. Play with your kids. Anything you want. Get yourself sweating. Get yourself huffing and puffing as many days a week as possible. Anything you want. And then do the infrared sauna. You will sweat out those toxins. Literally, trust me, this will work great. 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox costs less than 3 weeks of food. Do the infrared sauna, exercise. You're going to do amazing. Congratulations. All right. Christy's up next. Christy writes in, Dr. Cabral, thank you once again for all you do. I was wondering if you've done a podcast on postnasal drip. If so, could you direct me to those episodes? That would be great. If not, I have a postnasal drip. I have postnasal drip all the time. It's awful. Take Claritin with Sudafed to stop it. It only helps a little, but I'd really like to know what the best treatment for it is because I'd like it to stop. Thank you again for being so amazing and helping the way you do. Christy, thank you for the kind words. Really do appreciate it. Love seeing that in a lot of these house call questions. It makes it all worth it. It really does. And I simply appreciate seeing those words. So let me see if I can find you the podcast episode on postnasal drip. Christy, overall, it doesn't look like I've done a particular show on postnasal drip, but what I do want to say is this. I will do a show very, very soon on sinus issues and postnasal drip because I see so many people within my practice. And honestly, postnasal drip was the bane of my existence for about a decade. It started in November and it lasted through April, and then just brutal all the time, dripping down from my nose into my throat, waking me up at night, with having to cough up all this mucus, and then just having to blow my nose all the time. Now, part of it, do keep in mind, is gut-based issues. I spoke about it earlier in the show, but 3,000 capsules of amoxicillin wiped out my good bacteria. So it's not just your gut, not just your intestines. It's also your nasal passages. A lot of people don't know that. If you take an antibiotic for a sinus infection, your recurrence is almost 100% because you took an antibiotic for it and you wiped out a lot of the good bacteria in the nasal passages as well. Couple things though. So just keep in mind, postnasal drip is a symptom of something deeper. In my opinion, run an organic acids test. And if you have candida overgrowth, you have bacterial overgrowth, you know that that's causing some of these sinus-based issues. Okay, it's also causing allergies. Allergies, postnasal drip, they go hand in hand. They really do. So how do you clean up your allergies? Well, again, fix your gut, build back up your immunity through the good bacteria in your gut as well. Start to stay away from some of the foods that you know are triggers. Run a food sensitivity test for sure. And I'm going to give you some of the things that help in the meantime. So I still have to be very careful. I have to be honest. I have to be very careful in this cold New England weather. I'll never have it really May through October, but that cold weather for sure. Part of the reasons is this. When I was 21 years old, I had my adenoids taken out for a second time. Actually, they didn't do full job, which is hard to believe the first time. I already had my tonsils taken out, and they stripped the mucous membranes in my nose. And that leaves me now very susceptible as well to this postnasal drip, the inflammation, the nasal passages, all those types of things as well. Okay, here's how we can help though. I always make sure I'm taking my daily nutritional support, but my Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol, which is my daily probiotic support to keep my gut balanced as well. So it helps my allergies. I also make sure I'm getting my B vitamins. That helps tremendously as well. I'm making sure I'm getting a lot of vitamin C and zinc. So everybody has their imbalance, right? My body this is what I've discovered. Again, it's taken a couple years, but this is what I've discovered. My body runs through vitamin C and zinc at a rapid pace. I have to take in a little bit more vitamin C than other people and a lot more zinc than other people, okay? So I'm taking in 30 milligrams of zinc on a daily basis. That's in addition to my daily nutritional support shake. So I'm getting 45 milligrams of zinc just from nutritional supplements. That doesn't include some pine nuts or other things that I might be getting in my diet, all right? So that, though, works for me tremendously. And I'm also getting in a minimum of 1 gram of vitamin C, actually 1.5 grams of vitamin C, because I'm getting 500 milligrams with my daily nutritional support shake. And then I'm taking 1 gram of vitamin C every single day as well as a capsule. Now, I up that during my most susceptible months, which would really be holidays. So December, January, February. So I up my vitamin C, and of course, I up it if I'm ever feeling any type of allergies. Now, when you have postnasal drip, cayenne pepper, ginger, or just drinking something called fire cider or fire tonic works exceptionally well, like unbelievably well. I travel with it, and if I'm starting to feel that after an airplane ride or whatever, I use that fire cider. I'm going to do a full podcast, but I talked for quite a bit on it right there, so hopefully that gets you started. All right, Anonymous is up next. Anonymous is asking, Dear Dr. Cabral, thank you for sharing so much knowledge. I love listening to your podcast every day on my way to work. My question is about high bilirubin levels. For the past 10 years or so, every time I have my annual test done, my bilirubin levels are elevated. I believe it's called Gilbert syndrome. It's not high enough to cause concern according to my doctors, but I'm wondering what the underlying symptoms are. Okay, this is a longer question as well, so I'm going to kind of abbreviate some of it, and everybody can read Anonymous's question today by simply going to the show notes as well. So just goes on to say, a little bit, asking if it indicates a problem, if the bilirubin or bilirubin is elevated outside of its normal range. And for people who don't know, what that is essentially is doesn't necessarily mean that there's an issue with the liver itself, although it could indicate that. It's more of an issue of a clearance, which I'll be talking about in a moment. So drinks 2 liters of water every day, has a berry smoothie for breakfast, 10,000 steps every day, works out 4 times a week. Got the first, amalgams when I was 6, had them removed in 2014. So essentially, this person is doing really healthy things in their life, which is great. So liver and kidney function came out normal. Just my iron was low. Again, I don't have the numbers. I will require a copy. Do you have any thoughts on this? Is it something you suggest? I live in Europe, so I'm not eligible to purchase any of your products or test kits. God bless you and your family. Thank you very much. Okay. So yeah, great questions. I'm happy to answer this for you. So, keep in mind too, we can't ship anything to Europe. You're right. I mean, we can still ship the food sensitivity test. We can still ship the omega-3 test, and we can still ship the hair tissue mineral analysis to Europe, and then you can just ship them back on your own. You can't use the prepaid FedEx mailers that come with them, but of course you could do the other ones. That's not an issue. However, of course, you don't have to work with our practice as well. You can also just do a Skype consultation with myself or with one of my health coaches. That's always a possibility. So, feel free to reach out if you don't feel that this answer is appropriate, but I'm going to give you as much information as humanly possible. Okay. So the first thing is this. You seem like a very healthy individual. I want all the numbers to be within range. So you want to fix this, no doubt about it. But I want you to know that a lot of people with Gilbert syndrome or just GS don't typically have, that doesn't mean that anything bad is going to happen to you. It doesn't mean anything bad to the liver. What it means that there's this particular syndrome or clearance-based problem. I want to let you know of all the different causes, okay? A lot of people just say, oh, well, there's this. Keep in mind this, that so biliary stasis. I want you to keep in mind that if your liver, your gallbladder, everything isn't working to its fullest, then you might not be actually properly regulating bile. So one thing that people can do is they can do the liver and gallbladder cleanse. If you just type in like liver cleanse at stephencabral.com/podcast, I'll try, I'll put that in the show notes today. Make a little note of it right now for you. I'm just going to put in liver cleanse, and my team is going to link that up. That can help move that bile along as well. Also, making sure you have enough stomach acid. There's a few things that help with this. So having a cup of ginger tea with a meal. You can even do some betaine HCl if you wanted to. I would definitely recommend a digestive enzyme, something that also has the bromelain and papain to help build up a little heat in the stomach. That can then allow the liver gallbladder to loosen some bile, to pump more bile into the duodenum, the small intestine, to meet that hydrochloric acid. Recommend that as well. Okay, cutting down potentially on really heavy fatty foods that could, and definitely not fried food. I know that that's probably not something that you're doing. Let's give you some other reasons. Oxidative stress. Keep in mind that you might be under a lot of stress. You might be exercising too much, or you might be fasting too much, or any of these things, or you might have heavy metals. You need to check that. Thymus dysfunction, biliary tract obstruction, or calculi, which is essentially, again, buildup. So the liver cleanse would help with that. Any type of red blood cell destruction. That's important, right? Because if you're low in iron, you want to look at your overall RBC levels. And if they're on the lower side, well, then there may not be as much red blood cells as we actually need from a total standpoint. So I would look at all these things. You can certainly work with a functional medicine practitioner over there. There's a lot of great functional medicine practitioners in Europe. I studied in Europe. It depends. I studied over the Netherlands, but there's phenomenal practitioners in Germany. And if I was to go over to Europe to study again, I'm always looking to up myself. People say, like, how could you possibly still be looking to study with other people? This journey is never over. Never over. Every single day I'm reading books. Every single day I'm reading research. I'm one person. I try to collect and assimilate as much information as possible. If someone has an in-depth knowledge in one area, believe me, I'm studying their work. No doubt about it. And so that I can then pass it on to you, and I can also learn it for myself. So a lot of great practitioners, but again, those are all reasons for that high level. Hopefully that helps. Okay, that looks like we've met our time for today. Thank you everyone for tuning into another Cabral House Call. But remember, I'm coming back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions, just like today, but of course, very different questions. Come back then. Look forward to speaking with you. Enjoy your weekend. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.